Hey guys, it's Phoenix Android Radios here. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Toyota Tacoma radio. This is for years 2016 and later, all the way up to 2022. The version we have here is a orange colorway. It kind of looks red-orange, but the other three colors we have are silver, black, and gunmetal. The physical buttons here, fan speed up and down and changing the air position, are all programmable, and the knobs can be programmed to do volume up, volume down, increase temperature, or increase fan speed. The bezel here for the air vents, this one we have is chrome, but you have another option for black. You have indicators here that do light up, and you have a hazard button here. One of these is the microphone, one of these is the reset button. The radio has a built-in microphone, but the factory microphone on the vehicle is also supported, and that you can toggle in the settings to enable the built-in microphone or the factory microphone on the vehicle. Before we get to the cables, if we look at the back of the radio, we're going to be using several of these connections. Maybe one or two of them will be empty. This is the main power. These two are the optical and coaxial out, and this is the antenna connection, 4G plus antenna, the GPS antenna, and the Wi-Fi antenna that supports both 2.4 gigahertz and 5G bands. We provide both the GPS antenna and the SIM card antenna for inserting a SIM card. There's a SIM card slot here. It also has an extra SIM card slot on one of the harnesses that we'll look at later. And we have two connections here. This comes from the factory vehicle, and this comes from the harness, which is the CAN bus connection. So the main thing to confirm is these two connections, power and the communication connector. On the back of the radio, there is one plug here for the auto AC versions of the vehicle. If you have a manual AC, you will have two plugs here, but it is covered in tape and this may be empty. This is the auto AC version. Manual AC has two plugs here. The GPS antenna that we provide here can screw onto here and put inside the car, and you can check the GPS monitor for signal. But if you don't want to use the provided antenna, we also provide an adapter that can screw onto here, and this connects to your factory antenna on the car. So you can support the factory GPS antenna on the car. For certain models of the Toyota Tacoma, you may have a push to start button or also a knob for this type of driving modes. If you do have any of these two buttons, a push to start or two-wheel drive and such knobs, or a knob that looks like this, you do need to remove it from your factory vehicle and move it out to one of these knobs. So if you only have one, you can replace one of them with the factory knob. If you have both, replace both of them. And looking at the back here, there are two clips here to engage to push the knob out. Both. So if you have these two knobs, you do need to remove the factory and move them over to our radio. Looking at the cables, we have this connector that has a SIM card slot reader, as well as RCAs for aftermarket sound. There are front out left, subwoofer, front out right. There's an aux jack for an external microphone, but we don't recommend using this unless the built-in microphone or the factory microphone on the vehicle does not work. You also get an external microphone that you can plug in. But again, if you plug in an external microphone, there may be echo or interference with the other microphones built in on the radio and in the factory car. The other RCAs we have are aux in L and aux in R. You can put an audio feed in here and see it on the radio in one of the apps. And that corresponds with aux video in. If you put a video feed in here, you can see it on the app on the radio. There is a right camera in. You can insert a video feed in here and also see it on the camera app on the radio. And those are the RCAs. So this is not a necessary connector. You can leave this out if you're not using any of these aftermarket sounds or a SIM card reader. This is the SIM card antenna for the 4G signal. You can screw it onto the back of the radio, and that's labeled 4G here. GPS antenna. And if you have a factory backup camera or an aftermarket backup camera, and with the factory 360 cameras on these vehicles, it is also supported. It is a 10-pin connector with a female RCA that connects up top here with the clip facing downwards. And you have two USB cables. One USB cable has a single USB port that is 4 pins. This is your built-in Apple CarPlay or built-in Android Auto. This connects here. And it's best to route the USB cable in the glove compartment or somewhere accessible outside of the car. You have another USB cable with 2 USB ports, which also do data and power. However, this is not the CarPlay or Android Auto. It's a 6-pin that connects here. Now for Toyota Tacomas, the 2016 to 2019 vehicles, you get a main harness that has a total of 4 plugs and 1 plug that connects to the back of the radio. And this plug will connect to the top here. This plug here also comes with an adapter that allows it to connect to the back of the radio here. So we'll connect this adapter. And on this adapter, there is a 8-pin connector that needs to connect at the top here. There are 2 RCAs, red and white. This is for audio outs if you're connecting an aftermarket sound system. So this harness is for 2016 all the way to 2019, and those vehicles come with a USB adapter that supports the factory USB port on the car. You would connect it to one of these 2 USB port cable, and this end would connect to the car to retain the factory USB port on the car. For the 2016 to 2019 harness, this main connector goes up here. Don't forget the canvas connection to the back of the radio. And because this is an auto AC vehicle, we have 1 connector here for the air conditioning, and the rest of these plugs can match to the vehicle. This one is the radio antenna that we can connect up top here. And the rest of these connections should find a spot for the vehicle. If your vehicle is a 2020 or above vehicle, instead of getting this harness for the 2016 to 19, you'll receive this harness, and this harness has 3 plugs going to the vehicle, 1 plug going to the canvas connection at the bottom, and a different type of USB adapter to support the factory USB port. So we can connect this one, and this connector goes to the vehicle. This is for 2020 and later. For the main harness, connect this to this. For the main harness, connect the one labeled 2020 to the adapter. Don't forget the 2 green wires on the adapter that go up top here. And we have the radio antenna here. Find the connection in the car. Connect the antenna at the top here. And we can find a spot for these 3 connectors. One thing to note is when you're finding these connections, find the connector that matches with the wires on both ends. So say you found a connection, just confirm that the wires on this end all match up to the car's side wires. If you If we had wires on this side on the top row, but no wires here, then find a connector where the wires here match to the car. And once you've found those matching connectors with the matching wires, the radio should turn on, you should have sound, and you should have air conditioning controls. This is the 12.1-inch radio for the 2016 and above Toyota Tacoma. Again, you have two types of harness, one for 2016 to 2019 and another harness for 2020 and later, but the radio is still the same. If you have an auto AC vehicle, you have one plug here. If you have a manual AC vehicle, you will have two plugs here. Power and car communication come from the power connector here and the canvas connection here. And don't forget to connect the two green wires that go to the top here. That does it with this video. If you guys have any questions or concerns, give us a call or send us an email. And stay tuned for future content. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.